All right, so um, I saw this story yesterday, and wow, truly an outrageous story that needs to be put on full blast. I just want to do my part in whatever I can do to get this story out and why this, like, everybody needs to know about this and demand something be done about this. So, Ukrainian woman who moved to U.S. to escape war stabbed to death at train station. Family says, I have seen the footage up to the moment of the incident. I have no interest nor desire to actually watch the whole thing. I'm sure it's out there, but I'm definitely not going to be watching the whole thing. There's no need to. We know what happened. Um, Charlotte, North Carolina, a Ukrainian woman who came to the U.S. to escape war in her country was stabbed to death in Charlotte, according to authorities. On August 22nd, Irina Zarutska was stabbed to death on the light rail in Charlotte's South End neighborhood. Officials report. This is her. And so the video retrieved from inside the light rail showed Zarutska getting on the train car and sitting in a seat in front of 34-year-old DeCarlos Brown Jr. This this scumbag right here, this disgusting human being, right there. The train traveled for about 4.5 minutes before Brown allegedly pulled a knife from his pocket, unfolded it, paused, stood up, and stabbed Zarutska 3 times. Zarutska was stabbed in the middle of the throat at least one of those times, so that was obviously an artery, um, severing a critical artery in her throat, which you're done. You're that's I've seen footage of people getting stabbed there. It's blood immediately, and in seconds they're gone. That much blood flow that fast, you really it's on. There's only a miracle that you could survive something like that. It was believed that Zarutska and Brown did not know each other. There appeared to be no interaction between the two on the light rail before the stabbing. Police reports said Brown walked away as Zarutska began bleeding out. She became unresponsive shortly after being stabbed. Officials say, I mean, obviously, I mean, she's dead before they even arrive. She was pronounced dead from knife wounds at the scene. Brown was found shortly after the stabbing, arrested and taken to the hospital for a laceration on the outside of his hand. It was not immediately clear how Brown was injured in the attack. Sometimes people don't know a knife attacker can actually himself accidentally get stab himself or hit himself. Sometimes what can happen is with the blade you can, hit bone, and the blade, because you're so pumped with adrenaline, what demonic things are going through this guy's mind at the time, I don't know. But sometimes that blade you can actually hit something and it pushes that blade into your own finger, and you don't even realize it till afterwards. But stuff like that can happen. You know, for your morbid curiosity, I guess. Zarutska's family said she had recently fled to Charlotte from war-torn Ukraine. Records show that Charlotte police had arrested Brown before, most recently for allegedly misusing 911. This is a part of this news story here that I just absolutely hate, because we're not talking here about this guy's actual record. Now, it's not like he was arrested for like murder or anything like that before, but it's like comments like these. He was arrested before, and that's it. Let's talk about his actual record, his whole record, which I had to find in this article right here, which is India Today. So let's go down here. Court records reveal Brown's criminal history stretches back to 2011, including robbery with a dangerous weapon and communicating threats. He served 5 years in prison and was arrested again in January for misusing 911 after claiming a man-made material inside his body was controlling him. So this guy is clearly unhinged. He's clearly off the reservation. I mean, look at him. Dude's just a real piece of work, And we got so right now we have, the killing has sparked renewed debate over safety on Charlotte's transit system at a September 2 meeting. CATS officials said they had hired a chief safety and security officer, tripled the safety budget, and begun replacing aging cameras with advanced technology. Aging cameras with I don't know what that's supposed to do. I mean, the camera recorded the guy, and then he got arrested. So I think the cameras are doing just fine. Hiring more security officers, okay, that's fine. Whatever. But here's what needs to happen: this guy needs to be convicted and not sent for life in prison. Life in prison is a waste of taxpayer dollars. It's a waste. It's a waste of life, essentially. This guy needs to be put to death. He needs to be put to death. This is death penalty. I know I got Christian friends who are just like, oh, it's not our job to judge. No. The Bible teaches the death penalty. It does. The death penalty for heinous sins like this. You deserve to die. And the way I see it, especially for a crime like this that is so obvious, it's on camera. I mean, it's hilarious to watch these articles. On the one hand, say he allegedly did this, and then go right up and basically say, yeah, he did it. But because, and I'm sorry to laugh, it's just my reactions to things, but it's sort of a impulsive reaction. But I'm truly fuming at something like this. This guy's he benefits nothing to society. He's just a piece of work, just useless. He's breathing air that is better used for people who are actually benefiting to society. And I know, look, I'm a guy who wants to understand. I try to talk to people about what they're going through, even when they do things that they shouldn't have done, bad things. I like to understand people and how they got to that point. I try to do things like that. This guy probably, born out of wedlock or whatever, just no father, at all. Mother's a piece of work too. This is another example of the black community just sinking. There was a time after, people don't really know this, but there was a time after slavery ended that the black community was doing very, very well. It was all this socialism stuff that came in and ruined everything. But I'm not going to get too far into that. But here's, genuinely, we have a situation. This is another, just the degradation of the black community. And it's sad to watch. I mean, this guy, what was his story? There's a part of me that's still kind of interested in what his story was, not because I have any sympathy for the guy, but because how do we avoid men like this again? How do we stop people like this from happening? And people always say you can't. Yes, you can. You can actually prevent things like this. There's means to do this. Actual better mental health, getting people off of drugs, disincentivizing people to be on drugs more. So that's one of the things I like about what RFK Jr. is doing, things like that. Then there's also what you need to do with this guy is it not only needs to be an execution, it needs to be a public execution. It needs to be just straight up, no, none of this kind of like merciful killing. Now, this guy needs to just be convicted, taken out back, one to the head, or just hang him until he's dead, and leave his body to display for a while. That was the old ways we used to do things. Oh, that's so brutal. That's so brutal. Well, you know what? You know what that does? Stuff like that, that's going to discourage people from committing crimes more often like this. And when I talk about execution, I'm talking about like the day he's convicted, he's taken out back, you're gone. Bye-bye. No goodbyes to anybody. You're done. Bye-bye. Now, again, so is there time between all that? I'm trying to think about, like, right now, my Christian friends who mean well, they mean well and everything like that. I understand. I used to be where they're at too, but you start seeing things and you start reading the scripture more. You start getting out of that little bubble that you live in. You start to understand the more blunt realities of life and why the Bible teaches certain things, how to deal with certain things. Okay. And you just, that blissful romantic idea of the world you have kind of goes away. And so, but anyways, so I understand why some of them think the way they think in many of these situations. I've listened to them and whatever. I am absolutely for capital punishment, and for me, capital punishment is like no bureaucratic red tape, no 30 years, no death penalty, and then he's on death row for 30 years. No. Take him out back right now, and just end it. Just be done with him. Society doesn't need somebody like that. And again, I understand he's made in the image of God too, and that doesn't mean that there's not hope in the time that he has to come to Christ, but you're still going. you still have to pay for that. And this guy, yeah, this guy deserves the books, and he needs to be put on full blast. What this is, what has happened here, is absolutely evil. I mean, it's hard to find words for something like this. But the other thing that makes me so angry is, that that one young mother, who who got the internet all up in a roar because she called a couple kids who were stealing from her the N word. They were like, she needs to be canceled and all this stuff like that. She's getting like basically jail time for disturbing the peace. And like stuff like this. I mean, obviously this guy's getting arrested and he's going to get convicted. Whatever. Like but what's going to happen to this guy? Oh, he's too mentally ill to stand trial. Well, that's just insane to me. That is itself insanity. If this guy is too supposedly incompetent to stand trial, well then let's just take him out back and just do it. Just get it over with. He should not be on the streets ever again. And there's no purpose. Like, life sentences to me make absolutely zero sense. If they're spending their entire life in prison, why are they still alive? Why keep them alive? It's a waste of taxpayer dollars. Taxpayer dollars are what are keeping that guy alive. He's in prison for life. Just take him out back and just do it. Just get rid of him. They serve no purpose to society. They just don't. This guy, he has no purpose in society. Some homeless guy, this is, I could go on and on and on, but I want to help make this story known. I want to get this story out there. People need to understand this. They need to see what just happened. This poor young lady, she comes to the United States because she's trying to escape the Ukrainian war, and then she ends up getting killed. It's like she was better off in Ukraine. I mean, what's that say about our country? That we allow filth like this on the streets. He wasn't even supposed to be on the bus, on that train ride or whatever it is. Apparently he didn't even actually pay to get on there. They just let him on. I'm pretty sure it's got something to do with, homelessness, welfare stuff, whatever. It's just garbage like that. We need to start asking as a society, why do we have so many homeless people? I mean, the short-sighted answers are always, well, because the rich are getting richer. That's just such short-sightedness. That's not. There's some truth to that, but that's not going to solve the problem. That is not going to solve the problem. You don't solve mental illness by making people like this rich. You don't do that. That's not how it works. Okay. Those are simplistic solutions to what is really a complicated economic problem. But it's not even just economics. It's a moral problem. I would say economic difficulties kind of are intertwined with causing more mental problems. People who are poor, they seek desperate means to survive or to escape their problems, and then they turn to drugs and stuff like that, and it's just a downward spiral. There is a part of economics involved in that. But again, see, that's my point here. It's so much more complicated than just take money from the rich, and then it's far more complicated than that. And simplistic thinking tries to go that route. I mean, it's really, really dumb and stupid. This poor young lady, I mean, it's truly, truly despicable. It is absolutely despicable. This guy needs, he needs to be just not locked up. None of that stuff. He needs to be put to death. Hang the murderers. Hang them all. Okay. So, anyways, I just wanted to talk about that here. Some of my comments on that whole thing, and just a truly, truly horrible, horrible thing here. This piece of trash right here, who just, he should not be alive. He needs to be unalived. Okay, sorry. And I don't mean that by just like, somebody needs to go in there and kill him. That's not what I'm saying at all. But he needs to be convicted and just death penalty immediately. Not, years from now, right then on the very day he's convicted, just take him, and he's gone. Nobody's gonna miss this guy. Um, you know, that poor girl had family. This guy, his family didn't care about him, obviously. And he just goes off and does drugs, gets involved in crime, jacks his brain up, and so he starts making wacky, wild police calls, and dude's just totally messed up. And it was just a matter of time before he was just gonna go totally crazy. So, yep, just want to make a video on that, guys. Um, Terrible, terrible, horrible situation. Should not have happened. It didn't need to happen. And we can talk all day long about, we need to, have a serious talk about safety on our buses or our tram systems. We can talk about all that stuff all we want. What needs to happen is we need to bring back brutal executions. We need to bring that stuff back. Convicted people, capital punishment, off them right then and there, and that'll send fear down the spine of the criminal world. They'll be like, dude, you know what's going to happen if I get convicted of this? I'm done. And as in immediately, like these people don't mess around. There was a time, when the reason why they would display hanging bodies from the convicted, you can talk all you want about, oh, that's so cruel and so mean, but here's the thing: when they did things like that, people would ride into town and they would see that and go, better be on my best behavior. It quelled the criminal agitation that is natural in all of us. It made them all go, yeah, we're gonna be really careful. There was a time out in, for instance, in the West, man, that there were serious consequences for your actions. And we don't have that anymore. We're all trying to be nice and civilized, and that's one of the reasons why crime continues to rise. It continues to go up, and people continue to get more crazy. We just think if I just be good to people, if we just be good to people, they're going to be good to us back. That's not how human nature works, guys. That's not how human nature works. It does work with certain people who are not totally out of their minds, people who are good, decent people. But that's just not most people. Okay? It's just not most people. When I'm nice to people, I don't ever get people saying, man, Chase is so nice, I want what he has, and then they come talk to me about Jesus or that. I never have that happen to me. When I'm super nice to people, they usually kind of treat me as sort of like a carpet, Yeah, Chase will do it. Chase will do it. Chase will do it. Chase will do it. That's usually what happens. You end up getting used. Now, am I saying that you shouldn't be nice? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm not saying that at all. We are called as Christians to be good and nice people. But we're also called to be, it's like Jesus' words, you are to be innocent as doves, but as shrewd as a serpent. And I think a lot of us just kind of, that second part, we just kind of throw that out and just do the innocent as dove things. And I'm frankly tired of it. This needs to be on full blast. So, anyways, I will talk to you all later. Bye.